the land of forgotten dreams. Once upon a time, nestled beyond the horizon of human consciousness, beyond the stars and far past the reach of any waking thought, there lay a world known only to those who had forgotten it, the land of forgotten dreams. Here, in this enchanted realm, dreams long abandoned by the conscious mind flourished. They were the fleeting visions of joy, the fantasies that flickered and faded when daylight beckoned. These forgotten dreams, however, did not vanish. Instead, they found refuge in this land, a place where they could grow and thrive, unburdened by memory or time. In the land of forgotten dreams, only the purest, most joyful dreams were permitted to stay. They were the dreams that had once made hearts swell with delight, dreams of triumph, love, and laughter. Each dream, no matter how brief, took on a life of its own in this magical place. And when they arrived, these dreams no longer existed as solitary fragments of imagination but instead wove themselves into the very fabric of the world. The land was vast and ever expanding, an intricate patchwork of the most heartwarming fantasies that had ever graced the minds of the living. Rolling hills of candy-colored grass stretched far and wide, bathed in the soft glow of eternal twilight. Golden castles floated on clouds of silk, their spires shimmering like distant stars. Rivers of honey flowed gently through lush forests where trees bore fruits made of light, casting a warm, inviting glow on all who wandered by. The most remarkable thing about this world was its unity. Although each dream that arrived was born from a different mind, they did not exist separately. The dreams grew together, their borders soft and malleable, and soon they blended into one another, creating something grander than any single vision could achieve. A dream of soaring over rainbow mountains might meet a dream of a perfect, never-ending carnival, and together they would create a sky full of flying carousels, their music echoing sweetly through the air. The inhabitants of this land were as varied and beautiful as the dreams themselves. There were dancers whose footsteps left trails of stardust, and children who rode on the backs of golden phoenixes. There were adventurers forever chasing treasure chests that, when opened, spilled over with laughter and love. Even the animals here were extraordinary, lions with wings, butterflies the size of houses, and gentle creatures made of mist and light. No one was ever sad, no one ever wanted, for the land of forgotten dreams knew only joy. And yet, though the land brimmed with wonders, its greatest magic was how the dreams interacted. Characters who had once lived only in the hearts of individuals would meet here, crossing paths in ways that were both unexpected and natural. A child's dream of befriending a dragon might wander into a dream of peaceful meadows, and soon the dragon would become the gentle guardian of that meadow, its fiery breath warming the fields on cool, misty mornings. A knight from one dream could find themselves sharing a banquet with the kindly wizards of another, their stories and laughter mingling until their separate worlds became one. One dream, in particular, had been resting in the land for many centuries. It was the dream of a young woman who had once imagined a grand ballroom filled with twinkling lights, where everyone who entered was free to dance for eternity. Forgotten soon after waking, it had grown into something more in this realm. The ballroom now stood at the heart of the land, a place where all could gather, dreams and dreamers alike. On any given night, though in the land of forgotten dreams, time was a fluid concept, you could find the ballroom filled with joy. Stars hung from the ceiling like lanterns, and the floor shimmered with reflections of the endless night sky above. One night, as the dream world danced to the music of forgotten songs, a small figure stood at the edge of the ballroom. This was a dream of a child, a simple one, who had once wished to find a secret garden where flowers bloomed in every color and nothing bad could ever happen. The dream had grown, of course, as all dreams in this land did. The garden was no longer secret but vast and open, a place where the air itself felt like love. The child looked out at the ballroom, eyes wide with wonder. As the child watched, a beautiful woman appeared, her gown made of cascading moonlight, her smile as warm as a summer breeze. She knelt before the child, her voice as soft as the wind through the trees. "Do you wish to join us?" she asked gently. The child nodded, unable to speak from sheer amazement. The woman took their hand, and together they stepped into the ballroom. As the child danced, flowers began to bloom beneath their feet, vibrant and alive, adding new beauty to the already wondrous room. Other dreams noticed and, one by one, they added their own touches. Phoenix feathers adorned the chandeliers, stars aligned into new constellations across the ceiling, and the laughter of 1,000 happy hearts filled the air. As the land of forgotten dreams continued to grow, new realms emerged from dreams long lost, kingdoms of endless summer, where the sun never set, towering cities of crystal that sparkled under the perpetual twilight, oceans made of liquid sapphire, teeming with fantastical creatures. But most importantly, in this land, no dream was ever truly forgotten. Though the dreamers may never recall them, their dreams lived on, intertwined with others, creating a world more beautiful and joyful than any single mind could imagine. And so, the land of forgotten dreams continued to flourish, a realm where happiness, love, and the magic of imagination reigned supreme forever. The land of forgotten dreams continued to expand, fed by the arrival of forgotten visions from all corners of the world. Every time a person stirred in their sleep and left behind a moment of wonder, it floated into the land like a whispered secret. These forgotten dreams were not lost, they merely found a new home, where they were welcomed with open arms, to dance and play among other dreams like themselves. Among the newest arrivals were 2 dreams, each of them vibrant and unforgettable in its own right. Though their dreamers had long since forgotten them, here, in this land, they would live on forever, intertwining with the others and growing into something more. The Cloud Magicians. In one corner of the land, there was a circus in the sky, where 4 cloud magicians performed for an endless audience of dreamers and creatures alike. Their stage was a vast cloud, soft and puffy, hovering high above the rolling hills below. Dressed in shimmering robes the color of dawn, the magicians juggled plush toys in their hands. These toys, fluffy, delicate, and enchanted, began to wriggle and dance as if they had minds of their own. The magicians smiled, their faces warm and mischievous, as the toys slipped from their fingers and began to bounce across the sky. The crowd below, a collection of dreamers and dream creatures, cheered and laughed as the toys and magicians played an intricate game of tag among the clouds. The toys, now alive, floated and darted about like birds, while the magicians twirled and leaped, trying to catch them with graceful sweeps of their hands. Clouds puffed and shifted with each step, creating patterns of mist that shimmered in the sky. After a playful chase, the toys grew tired and snuggled back into the magician's arms. Together, they all sat on the edge of the cloud, their legs dangling over the side, as they shared bowls of ice cream piled high with fruit jam. The sky around them turned a deeper shade of blue, the kind that only exists in dreams, and the stars twinkled with approval. In the land of forgotten dreams, the cloud magicians would perform forever, their joy a permanent part of the ever-growing realm. The tornadoes on the water. Not far from the circus in the sky, another forgotten dream was unfolding, this one filled with the power and majesty of nature. The sky and the sea were as one here, both painted in endless shades of blue, and the only thing that separated them was the dance of tornadoes on the water. In this dream, the tornadoes were magnificent, each one a swirling tower of air and mist that stretched from the clouds above to the waves below. They moved with a rhythm all their own, spinning and twisting with a grace that belied their immense power. Some tornadoes descended from the sky, their wide mouths hungrily reaching toward the sea, while others grew out of the water itself, spiraling upward to meet their counterparts in the heavens. As the tornadoes collided, they merged, becoming even larger. The dreamer had imagined them like hourglasses made of wind and water, swirling and merging until their power doubled. When two tornadoes fused, they created a single, massive vortex that reached farther into the sky and deeper into the sea, an unstoppable force that spun with a gentle hum. Their collisions sent shock waves through the dream, and though they were awe-inspiring, there was no fear here. In the land of forgotten dreams, even the mightiest of storms was a thing of beauty. As the tornadoes continued to grow, they began to sweep over the tropical islands that dotted the dreamscape. These islands, once solid and still, were caught up in the swirling dance of the tornadoes. They floated into the sky, carried by the force of the wind, until they became part of the hourglass-shaped whirlpools themselves. The islands spun and drifted within the tornadoes, like jewels caught in a cosmic storm, adding splashes of color and life to the vast, swirling towers. Eventually, the tornadoes merged into one giant vortex, a swirling colossus that towered over the sea and sky alike. But even then, it was not a destructive force. Instead, it was a monument to the dreamer's imagination, a storm that danced and spun with an endless grace, capturing the beauty of chaos and turning it into art. And so, the tornadoes on the water joined the land of forgotten dreams, adding their ceaseless, majestic motion to the ever-changing landscape. The intertwining of dreams. As the cloud magicians and the tornadoes continued to live their separate lives, something magical began to happen, as it often did in this world. The dreams, though born from different minds, began to sense each other's presence. It was subtle at first. A breeze from the sea of tornadoes carried the faintest scent of fruit jam to the clouds where the magicians sat. In return, a playful gust from the magicians' clouds stirred the waters where the tornadoes spun, sending ripples across the sea. Soon, the two dreams began to intertwine, as all dreams did in this land. The cloud magicians, curious about the powerful tornadoes, decided to take their circus closer to the water. With a flick of their hands, they directed their cloud stage to float toward the swirling seas, where the tornadoes on the water danced in their endless spiral. As the magicians approached, they marveled at the size and beauty of the tornadoes, their soft laughter mingling with the roar of the wind. But rather than fear the great storms, the magicians saw them as new partners in their performance. With a gesture, they tossed their living plush toys into the air, and the toys were caught by the wind, spinning and twirling through the sky as if they were born to fly. The tornadoes, in turn, seemed to welcome the new arrivals, lifting the toys higher and higher until they danced among the clouds. As the dreams merged, the once separate elements of each dream began to blend. The cloud magicians danced atop the swirling tornadoes, their movements guided by the wind, while the plush toys darted in and out of the storm's spirals, their laughter carried on the breeze. Even the islands caught in the tornadoes joined the performance, their lush greenery providing a beautiful backdrop to the swirling chaos. And in this way, the dreams grew together, as all dreams did in the land of forgotten dreams. What had once been separate visions of wonder became a single, harmonious world, where clouds and tornadoes, magicians and islands, toys and winds all danced together in an endless celebration of joy and imagination. And so the land continued to expand, as more forgotten dreams arrived to find their place in this ever-growing, ever-changing realm. The land of forgotten dreams stretched further than imagination could comprehend, a world where the echoes of once dreamt joys and fantasies danced forever. And there, amid the golden glow of perpetual twilight, a new dream began to weave itself into the rich tapestry of the land. Jungle vines. In this forgotten dream, you found yourself suspended high above a jungle that seemed to breathe with life. Below you, stretching from horizon to horizon, was a vast green sea of lush treetops, swaying gently in the warm breeze. These were no ordinary trees, they were ancient, their trunks so thick and tall that their tops seemed to touch the heavens. These towering palms, impossibly high, held the sky on their shoulders, as if keeping the universe in balance. From these towering palms hung long green vines, strong and smooth, perfectly suited for swinging. You reached out and grabbed one with ease, feeling the firm, almost living texture of the vine wrap around your hand. With a swift leap, you launched yourself into the air, soaring effortless between the palms. The sensation was exhilarating, the wind rushing past your face as the jungle below stretched out endlessly. As you swung from vine to vine, you marveled at the world beneath you. Your vision in this dream was enchanted, so sharp that even from this height, you could see the finest details below. Every leaf, every flower, every creature was clear to your eyes, as if you were hovering just above them. The jungle was alive with color and sound. Fabulous animals roamed the undergrowth, majestic black panthers with glowing eyes, sleek jaguars moving like shadows, ocelots and caracals with their coats shimmering in the dappled sunlight. Birds of paradise flitted between the branches, their feathers iridescent, leaving trails of light behind them. But it wasn't just the animals that captured your attention. The plants themselves were magical, each one unique and vibrant. Giant ferns unfurled like emerald fans, and flowers bloomed in impossible hues, their petals shifting colors as you watched. Butterflies as large as your hand floated lazily through the air, their wings patterned like stained glass. Everywhere you looked, life thrived in abundance, each detail more beautiful than the last. As you flew through the air on the vines, you could also see the land's crystal-clear waterfalls, cascading down from distant mountains that rose up from the jungle like ancient guardians. The waterfalls sparkled like diamonds, their waters pure and untouched, tumbling down into hidden pools that glowed with an inner light. The sunlight bathed everything in a warm, golden hue, as if the entire world had been kissed by some eternal sunset. The dream of shifting soundscapes. While you swung through the vines, another forgotten dream floated into the land, intertwining with the jungle dream. This was the dream of shifting soundscapes, a dream that began with a quiet desert but soon transformed into something extraordinary. In this dream, vast dunes of golden sand stretched out as far as the eye could see, their surfaces rippling like waves frozen in time. The sands themselves were magical, constantly shifting and changing as if moved by an unseen hand. One moment, the desert was smooth and endless, and in the next, it transformed into towering dunes that reached the height of mountains. But this wasn't a harsh, barren place. As the sands shifted, they revealed hidden oases, lakes of sapphire blue water, surrounded by lush greenery. Palm trees with silver leaves sprouted from the dunes, and flamingos with feathers as bright as the setting sun gathered around the water, their reflections shimmering in the still surface. As you swung on the vines, you watched as the jungle began to merge with this dream of sand. The shifting soundscapes met the jungle's edge, and where the two realms touched, something incredible happened. The palms of the jungle and the palms of the desert intertwined, their leaves blending into a hybrid of green and silver. The crystal waterfalls of the jungle began to carve through the dunes, creating rivers of liquid gold that flowed through the desert. Sand and jungle became one, their boundaries dissolving into a seamless world of endless wonder. In this new, merged dream, you could swing from vine to vine over both the lush jungle and the golden desert. One moment, you were soaring above the dense, verdant forest, and the next, you were gliding over the soft, shifting sands. You could even feel the difference. The air over the desert was warm and dry, filled with the scent of the dunes, while the air over the jungle was thick with the perfume of flowers and the earthy aroma of the rainforest. The carousel of eternal whimsy. As the jungle and desert dreams blended, yet another forgotten vision began to take shape in the sky above. This was the dream of the carousel of eternal whimsy. High above the palms and dunes, a giant carousel appeared, its frame made of swirling clouds, its horses and carriages carved from light and mist. It hovered in the sky, turning slowly and silently, its music a soft melody that floated down to the jungle and desert below. This was no ordinary carousel. Its horses were creatures of pure imagination, some were winged unicorns with manes made of stars, others were griffins with feathers as white as snow, and still others were mermaids whose tails shimmered like the ocean at sunset. The carousel spun gently, its passengers laughing with joy as they rode through the sky, their faces illuminated by the light of distant stars. The carousel of eternal whimsy became part of the merged dream, floating above the landscape like a beacon of playfulness and delight. As you flew on the vines below, you could see the carousel reflected in the rivers and waterfalls, its light casting rainbows over the sand and trees. Occasionally, a creature from the carousel would leap off, soaring through the air to join the jungle or desert, adding even more magic to the world below. The intertwining of dreams. As these forgotten dreams merged and grew, they began to intertwine in the way that only dreams in the land of forgotten dreams could. The jungle vines, the shifting sandscapes, and the carousel of eternal whimsy formed a single, magnificent world where the rules of reality no longer applied. Now, as you swung on the vines, you could leap from a jungle palm to a desert dune with a single motion. You could watch panthers and jaguars race across the shifting sands, their sleek forms gliding over the desert as if they had always lived there. The flamingos from the oases took flight, their brilliant feathers flashing as they joined the butterflies of the jungle in a dance above the treetops. And as you soared, the music of the carousel echoed through the air, filling the entire land with the sweet sound of forgotten joy. This new world, born from the blending of dreams, was a place where anything was possible. It was a world where you could swing from the tallest trees, fly across deserts of shifting sand, and ride on a carousel in the sky, all in the same breath. And as you flew through this ever-changing landscape, you knew that you were part of something greater, part of the endless, eternal wonder of the land of forgotten dreams.